that you do want to make like you. So today, I'm going to be showing you the super simple zoo steps required to make her like you. Ready? Step 1. Approach the girl. You have to make contact with a girl if you want to make her like you. No, contrary to what some guys might think, you can't just mind control a girl from across the room and make her like you. Now, by make contact, I mean you have to approach her, and if you see her in person or if it's on Tinder or the Instagram DM, then you can approach by shooting them a message. Disclaimer, it's way more effective, and you'll get better results if you approach a girl in person because you can show her way more of your personality, and you're harder to brush off and forget about as opposed to on Tinder where she gets like 100 messages from thirsty guys all over the place. Now, to make any girl like you, the most important thing you want to do is communicate to her that you're interested in her. If you don't make that clear to her that you're interested in her, she's just going to think you're being friendly. You have to provide context to the girl as to why you're there and why you approached her. The vibe should be that you like the girl but still want to get to know her a little better before you invest more. You can do this by screening the girl, meaning that you're screening her to see if she's cool and worthy of your time. A lot of guys make the mistake of creating interactions wherein they're trying to win the approval of the girl, when instead, the vibe should be that you're screening the girl to make her gain your approval. Now, this isn't arrogance on your part, it's simply time management. There's a lot of chicks out there, and you don't have a whole lot of time to contemplate whether or not you like R. Kelly. So the easiest way to make her qualify herself to you and try to gain your approval is to lead all of your interactions with a strong frame, which is incredibly important when you're giving the girl a first impression. A strong frame is basically synonymous with a strong first impression. Your frame is the context of your interaction. Step 2 is easy. Once you're in the interaction with a girl and it's been going well, you need to ask her for her number or Instagram or Snapchat or whatever you use to talk to girls. I don't care if you're talking to these girls through a tin can and a string. You need to set that vibe and exchange it with her. Just whip it out and place it in her hands. I mean your phone. Whip it out and give it to her. And just tell her to give you her number. Use the assumptive close, like, of course you're going to give me your number. Then you can shoot her a text with your name. So she has your number and the opportunity to text you before you follow up a few minutes or a few hours later. Step 3. Follow up with the girl. Now that you got the number, you gotta text her. You and her should send a few texts back and forth, and then you deploy the hangout test. The hangout test is something I've talked about before. Basically, you ask the girl to hang out, and if she rejects the date without trying to reschedule or give you a damn good excuse, like she has a meeting with the president or something, just assume she's not ready to hang out with you yet. Then, after another conversation or two, you ask her again in a few days. And if she rejects without providing a time to reschedule, you say fuck that bitch and move on. It's really that simple. The hangout test is perhaps the most effective way of testing whether or not the girl's into you. And besides, it's a huge time saver, okay? And if she does say yes, then move on to the next step, which of course is step 4, going on the date. You want to do this from the start, so you start off the date with that vibe that you guys are comfortable being physical with one another. Now, during the date, you want to escalate by putting your arm around her, putting your arm on her back and leading her into a doorway, holding her hand on the date, and so on. Set the goal to at least kiss her once while on the date. I tend to do it during the middle of the date because if you wait till the end, it may be awkward or harder to do it. And you're most likely going to pussy out if you put it off to the end. This is no hard or fast rule. There are very few exceptions where you won't be able to kiss the girl at all on the date, but it should be clear to her on the date that you're romantically interested in her and like her in a way that's more than friends. Bonus tip, use the pull-away. The pull-away is a technique I invented that's best used when you're talking to a girl for 2, 3, maybe 4 days in a row, and after that day you go completely off the radar and don't talk to her for anywhere from 1 to 2 days. Even if she texts you during this time, ignore it. What this does, it shows the girl that you're not super available and easy to get to, and most importantly, it builds scarcity and urgency. You can do the pull-away before you go for the hangout, if it takes a couple conversations to get her on the date in person. If you're a younger guy, say high school or college, it may take 2 or 3 conversations to get her on the date with you, so the pull-away is super useful for you. You can also use it after you do the first hangout, before your second date to build her interest. And then, when you reappear a day or 2 later, you ask her for a second date. She's more likely to say yes to a hangout when you just finished a pull-away because there's more scarcity involved.